This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injuries and additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. Another young life lost, another teen critically injured, and another family left to mourn in shock. On Sunday night, tragedy struck on the 7 train in Queens, where 2 girls, aged 13 and 14, fell between subway cars while subway surfing near 111th Street. They were struck by the train. 13-year-old Crystal Romero lost her life, while her friend remains in critical condition, fighting to survive. This isn't just a one-off incident. We're now facing a disturbing trend with subway surfing deaths piling up. 6 fatalities this. Just last week, a 20-year-old man died in a similar incident, and the week before, another teen was badly hurt. Each case is a stark reminder of the dangers of this sort of reckless behavior. Subway surfing may seem thrilling to some young people, but it's lethal. And I know I may sound like I'm repeating some of the things that I said when we were talking about motorcycle riding, but this is even more dangerous. These trains are not amusement rides. They're powerful machines designed for efficient transportation, not for risky stunts. Social media has amplified this thrill-seeking trend, feeding young people dangerous ideas without showing the deadly consequences. In trying to live out a fleeting moment of adventure, young people are paying the ultimate price. In my view, it is past time to act. The MTA has made efforts to install warning signs and surveillance cameras, but clearly it's not enough. We need a multi-layered approach. Increasing fines for offenders and enforcing those penalties can help, but let's think bigger. Consider technology that detects when someone's in an unsafe position between subway cars, alerting conductors who can take action. Schools should also make it a priority to educate students about the dangers of subway surfing, bringing in transit workers or first responders to speak to teens about the real risks. And to parents and guardians, let this be a painful reminder. Stay vigilant. Talk to your kids. Explain the very real dangers of subway surfing and discourage thrill-seeking behavior that could cost them their lives. When tragedy strikes, there are no second chances. Our hearts go out to the family of Crystal Romero and to those fighting for the life of the injured young girl. It's time to put an end to this epidemic of subway surfing deaths because lives depend on it. I actually know one woman in Brooklyn who years ago lost her son in this sort of behavior, and I can tell you she's never been the same. She's never been the same. So absolutely my heart goes out to the family of Crystal Romero and to those fighting for the life of the injured young girl. To be continued.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then, my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. I went out to vote this weekend, and apparently I'm not the only one. New York City voters have come out strong this year, setting a new record for early voting on the first weekend. Nearly 258,000 New Yorkers cast their ballots early, and Saturday alone saw over 140,000 people at the polls, the most the city's ever seen for a first day. Brooklyn led the pack with over 77,000 voters, followed by Manhattan with more than 71,000, and the Bronx, Queens, and Staten Island rounding out the rest. Across the 5 boroughs, 155 early voting locations are open every day until November 3rd. And on Election Day, obviously, on November 5th, polls will be open from 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. Kudos to everyone who's already voted and taken an active role in shaping our city's future. If only we saw this level of enthusiasm for local elections, imagine how much better off we'd be if every election, not just the big presidential race, sparked this kind of interest. New Yorkers, keep showing up. Our votes really do make a difference, or at least they should. By the way, speaking of races within New York City, one of the few competitive races in New York City that is starting to pick up a lot of attention and may actually affect the dynamics of the state Senate is the race for the state Senate in the 23rd Senate District. This is a race that includes 2 boroughs, and the incumbent is a freshman, Jessica Scarcella-Spanton, and she's being challenged by Marco Kepi, who is a police officer and a Marine, and it is looking like Kepi, the Republican, in a Democratic district, actually has a chance to unseat the Democrat. Now, not only is that a big deal, but this race, along with 1 or 2 other state Senate races around the state, could actually put an end to the Democratic supermajority in the state Senate. So that's a big deal. Kepi is obviously putting in a very energetic challenge, but if you're interested in any semblance of balance in state government, and if you're interested in working on a local race where the Republicans actually have a shot, this is one of the few competitive general elections in all of New York City. So keep an eye on that 23rd State Senate District, and we'll see what happens with Marco Kepi and Jessica Scarcella-Spanton. I could tell you, if I were betting, I'd just bet on Marco Kepi at this point.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
American Giant makes great clothing, sweatshirts, jeans, and more right here in the U.S. Visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com, code STAPLE20.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
4 sitting judges in New York City rated not approved by the New York City Bar Association, a rare and surprising move by the bar's Judiciary Committee. Now, the New York City Bar Association may not be the final authority on a judge's qualifications. I've certainly seen them get things wrong before. But the fact that they'd issue such a strong public rebuke to judges that they all appear before, by the way, speaks volumes. This isn't common, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. In a city where most judges on the ballot are all but guaranteed to win, it's pretty wild and, frankly, pretty concerning to see the bar step in like this and speak out and make a statement like this. It makes you wonder just how many unqualified judges we have on the bench. These are people making decisions that impact our lives, our rights, and our communities. To have any of them rated as not qualified to do their jobs should make every New Yorker sit up and take notice. Judicial appointments and elections should be about competence, fairness, and integrity. When those qualities are lacking, we all pay a significant price. Now, I've long argued that New York City should allow non-lawyers to serve as judges, just as they do in other parts of the state and other states around the country. It might sound unconventional, but hear me out. Non-lawyers can bring a broader perspective, a real-world understanding of issues, and a fresh approach to the bench. The typical counter-argument is that allowing non-lawyers to serve as judges would lower the standards and open the door to unqualified candidates. But if even experienced, credentialed lawyers are being rated unqualified by the New York City Bar Association, maybe it's time to rethink our assumptions. After all, having a law degree doesn't automatically make someone a good judge. It doesn't guarantee wisdom, fairness, or the ability to make sound judgment calls in complex cases. Some of the best judges out there in other jurisdictions have been non-lawyers who understand the human element of justice, who applied common sense and who knew the importance of fairness in decision-making. And if New York City has somehow ended up with unqualified judges despite requiring a legal background, it's clear that the current system isn't foolproof. The issue here is bigger than these four judges. It's a wake-up call that we need to rethink how we choose the people we trust to uphold justice in our city. Every New Yorker has a stake in this, and it's essential that we demand high standards, not just in legal knowledge, but in judgment, fairness, and understanding. Qualified, fair, and balanced judges are crucial for a functioning society, and we can't settle for less.
Beam me up.
To be continued.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Well, New York City has announced plans to turn down applications for new street festivals, and I, for one, couldn't be more relieved. According to Gothamist, this decision comes in response to a request from the NYPD, which has been dealing with ballooning overtime costs. Last year, NYPD overtime hit over $1 billion for the first time in city history, more than double what was originally budgeted. To get those costs under control, the NYPD recommended that the Street Activity Permit Office stop issuing permits for new events next year. Now, I know street festivals have their fans. Supporters argue that these fairs bring in cash for local civic groups and small businesses and that they're essential neighborhood activities. Let's be honest. How many of these fairs does New York City really need? Year after year, and I've been saying this forever. In fact, Bernard Goetz and I did a great segment on the radio about this a couple of years ago. Year after year, we're inundated with hundreds of street fairs that are frankly repetitive and don't bring much unique flavor. Obviously, there's some that have a special place, like the Feast of San Gennaro, but by and large, they're all exactly the same. You can get the same kettle corn, the same plastic trinkets, the same generic street food at just about any fair in the city. And if you're a resident, you know that all these blocked off streets just mean more traffic headaches. If you're trying to drive through there, it's a total pain. If you're trying to park, it's awful. Fewer parking spaces, major disruptions for anyone who lives or works nearby. And let's not overlook the impact on real small businesses, the ones with storefronts in these neighborhoods. It's one thing if a street fair adds value, but when it just clutters up the street with vendors selling the same cheap tchotchkes, the local businesses are the ones who lose out. Storefronts lose customers when people can't get close and they're effectively competing with pop-up stands hawking items that don't bring anything unique or valuable to the table. Streets are for getting around. They're for cars and for trucks, not for endless rows of booths selling overpriced lemonade and mass-produced souvenirs. At the end of the day, we're a city that runs on movement, on getting people to where they need to go efficiently. More traffic, more overtime for the NYPD, and yet another round of vendors selling keychains isn't exactly contributing to the dynamic culture New York City is known for. So while this policy may not eliminate all street fairs, it does suggest a shift towards using our resources and our streets a bit more wisely. If you love these festivals, you'll still have plenty of chances to attend. Over 200 street fairs are still approved each year, but I think this is a step in the right direction.
Beam me up.
To be continued.